On today's True Stories from Backstage, I figured I would take you on something that happened really recently. Actually, a job that I did this weekend. So it's very safe to say that no job is the same. No call is the same. No artist is the same. And this weekend was full of its own surprises and obstacles to overcome. So let's talk about it. So a few weeks ago, I got a call about doing a video wall for Ludacris at a fair in West Virginia. So that's pretty cool. Ludacris, legendary rapper, didn't want to turn this job down. Supposed to be pretty easy. I was just providing this huge video wall so Ludacris's people could come in, put their content on it, have a big wow factor, do the show, get out of there. And I thought, cool, I'm just going to provide the video wall. I don't have to worry about the content. Just show up, build this wall, let the concert go, pack it up, and head home. So I don't call this from Backstage for no reason. I really want to kind of take you on the process, the step-by-step process of what it takes to pull off a show like this that really should be pretty simple, but you just never know how things are going to come up. And like I said at the beginning, no show is the same, and you just never know what kind of problems or changes that happen at the last second. So we show up around 9:30 a.m. to set up the video wall. I have a small crew. My guys, we're building this 60-panel video wall, so it's like 20-some feet by 17 feet. It's really a big video wall. Going to be very cool. It's an outdoor festival, a fair, a state fair kind of thing, so it's just going to be a fun day. The weather was perfect. Everything was great. We were able to go through the traffic, back up right up to the stage. First, let me back up a little bit. So like I said, we were just going to provide a video wall for Ludacris's people, and we were told that that's all we needed to worry about. As long as we have a certain kind of input on our controller, we're good to go. Well, probably 48 hours before the event happened, I get a screenshot of part of the rider, and Ludacris's people said it's got to be this. He listed there was several things, gear that I don't have. Everything had to be in 4K. We had to have fiber cable, not regular SDI cable. We had to have certain kinds of cross converters, and I didn't have any of this stuff. So I'm talking to the production people, and I'm like, I don't have this kind of gear. My gear is this. He's asking for A, and I'm over here with B, so what are we going to do? And the production people are like, hey, listen, we've not been able to get up with them, and everything's been kind of crazy. It'll be fine. Just come and bring what you've got, and we're going to make it work. So naturally, I'm slightly panicky from the get-go, knowing that I'm going to show up with certain type of gear, and Ludacris's people ask for something else. The problem is a lot of bands have horrible communication, and it's because they're on the road, they're on buses, they're on jets, they're doing shows back to back, and it's just hard for their people to keep up and dot all the I's and cross all the T's. But information flow is key when you're doing something like this. Imagine me showing up and building this massive wall, and they bring gear and it won't hook into it and it won't work, and all of a sudden Ludacris doesn't have any of his graphics behind him while he's trying to do his show. I mean, that could be really bad. But the production people seemed to think that they were pretty easygoing. There was not a lot of communication, but they thought it could all work. So we show up. We start building the wall, and I ask, when is the crew going to arrive? And they say they haven't heard from them. And so that's like red flag number one. You haven't even heard from them. You don't know when they're going to show up. So we build the wall. We get it ready. And then we get the call. Hey, they are... Wait, I need to back up one more time, because the night before we leave, we get a call saying that their video person isn't on the tour. He's not going to be there at all, and we just need to come up with something, and we'll work it out when we get there. So in a matter of 36 hours, it went from a rider with all this gear that had to be provided that I didn't have to, hey, the video director's not even coming. He's not bringing any of his stuff. We're going to have to come up with something to make do. So in these kind of situations, crews can show up, and they can either be completely over the top, anal about everything, and just ready to just jump and just really get into it from the get-go. Or they can show up and they know that they're late, they know they haven't really communicated, and they are just cool as can be, and they're like, hey man, we're going to work all this out. Luckily, that's what Ludacris's guys were. They were very cool. They were just kind of like, what are we going to do? Maybe we can put the iMag, which is the outside cameras that shows the people's faces. Maybe we can put that on there. So one of Ludacris's crew members shows up. He says, hey, we've got a graphic and a few pictures and stuff. Can you just get those on the screen and roll the graphic? It's some flames and everything. And just roll the graphic, and we're just going to go with that, and we're going to do this thing. Everything went from having a video director and tons of things going on with all these cues all the way down to literally, hey, man, just play this MP4 and loop it, and we're just going to roll with it. So at the end of the day, it was very cool. It was a super awesome show. But let me tell you a couple behind-the-scenes backstage things about Ludacris's actual show. I think you'll dig it. First of all, it was very minimal. He showed up with a DJ, his hype guy, and Ludacris. That was the only three people on the stage. And we were told by his management that Ludacris was doing a tight 70 minutes and getting out of here because he had another show in Alabama that night. Yep, that's right. He was doing 2 shows the same night. Instead of a tour bus going from city to city, Ludacris actually has his own transportation, his own private jet. He shows up with his guys, and then they can jump in a car, jump on the jet, and be somewhere else in the country in just an hour or two to do something else. So I thought that was kind of crazy. And his guys were like, it is a tight 70 minutes. It doesn't go over. He's going to walk off the stage at 9:15. He's getting in his vehicle, going straight to the airport, and he's going to Alabama to do another show. And so we were like, we couldn't believe it because most shows last till 10, 11, 11:30 or whatever. And so there wasn't technically an opener, but Ludacris's DJ got the crowd going and did like a very cool, house party kind of 20 minutes to get everybody pumped, get them all hyped. And as soon as it was time, Ludacris comes out. He does everything like you would think. He had the crowd at the edge of their seats. He worked them perfectly. He did all the songs everybody wanted to hear. He said all the right things. He really kept the crowd going the entire 70 minutes, and it makes you realize that he is really an awesome showman. So we had all been told he is done at 9:15 on the dot, and he's out of there. So we knew the show was going to be over then. But in true showmanship fashion, Ludacris kept the show going, just bam, 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 song after song, hitting the crowd with all the things they wanted to hear. And you would have thought he was going to play all night. He kept giving that impression like, I don't care when we need to quit. We're going to get these songs. We're going to do this. And it was very cool. I'm sure everybody just assumed that this party was going to go forever. Okay, it was like 5 after 9. He's still going. He's hyping the crowd. Everything is perfect. And I'm looking at my watch and I'm thinking, he's got to be done in 10 minutes, but everything is still going. He must be going over because he kept kind of giving the impression that, we're going to party all night. So he does a couple songs from his very first album, gets everybody going. Then he hits them with one of his biggest hits at the end. He has everybody going. The crowd is jumping. There's thousands of people there. And then, boom, he finishes the last song, turns to the DJ and says, give him something, DJ. And he walks off the stage. And the crowd thinks he's coming back. And they're just staying. The DJ is playing like just crazy house stuff, and they're all going. He hands his microphone off to one of his people. He goes down the steps straight into an Escalade, and he is on the road before the DJ's even done. Everybody kind of thinks he's coming back out because it's so early, but he gave them everything they wanted to hear in that tight 70 minutes. The DJ plays for about another 5 minutes, gets everything done, hits the song, and then they just start packing up because they all know they got to be in Alabama in like 2.5 hours. The crew packs all their personal things up, gets everything together, is off the stage in just a few minutes, and it is over. So I'm standing stage right. I'm looking out. There's 6,000-7,000 people. Just doesn't even know what happened. They were just so surprised. They were entertained for that full 70 minutes. Even though they didn't go all night, they had fun for those 70 minutes. I'm looking back at the 6,000 people. I'm looking at my video wall. I'm thinking about what could have been, but everything was great. The night is actually almost over. As the lights come up, my guys come up on stage. They start rolling cases out, and we start taking the wall down. So we pack everything up in all the road cases. We get them all packed up, and we head back to the hotel because we have a 4-hour drive the next morning. And that is how shows go. You have to pivot. You have to overcome obstacles. You have to overcome when gear doesn't work or someone shows up late or information doesn't get passed along. You have to keep going forward because you know the show has to happen. You can't let that crowd down, and you just make it all work. It was a great experience working with Ludacris's people. They were super chill. They just made things work. They pivoted and they took unexpected things and rolled with it and made everything work together. It was super cool. I hope to work with them again. And that, my friends, was my weekend. True story.